Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the session, Navigating National Scale-Up of Smart Insights from National Smart Implementations from Around the World. I'm Claudine Kluter. I'm a Chief Conservation Scientist with the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, but I'm also the National Smart Coordinator for Namibia. I have here with me a panel of 6 members from around the world, where countries have adopted SMART nationally, and I would just allow them to introduce themselves right now. Perhaps we start with Lina.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Lina Caro. I work for the Wildlife Conservation Society in the program Colombia.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Nara. I'm working at the WCS Mongolian program as the Conservation Technology Officer.
Hello everybody, I'm Levan. I'm from Georgia, representing Caucasus Nature Fund and coordinating smart deployment at national level in the country.
Good morning everyone, my name is John Belindu. I work in Royal Manas National Park, Department of Forest and Park Services, under Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources. So I would like to thank Namibia and SMART Partnership on behalf of Bhutan, His Majesty the King, and Royal Government of Bhutan for bringing Bhutan as well on the floor to talk something on SMART.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leng. I'm from Cambodia. I work for Wildlife Conservation Society Cambodia program. I am a conservation technology manager and support smart technical for the Ministry of Environment and also Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Petra. I come from Cambodia. I'm working for the Fishery Administration of Cambodia. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. Just briefly to introduce what each one of our countries have done in terms of national adoption. I'm going to start with the Namibian perspective. As you saw earlier in the little video that we displayed, in 2016, SMART was first piloted in Etosha National Park with only a few devices. And with that, seeing how good this tool was, we decided to roll it out across the entire park. And from there, we moved on to all protected areas in the country, with our seniors within the ministry actually adopting this tool as the national monitoring tool of choice for protected area management. In our journey, it was never easy. We had many challenges, but we have overcome it with training. Capacity building is very much important, but also having that community, engaging rangers, not talking down on them, but engaging them and seeing how we can make the system better. That has actually been a success story for us in Namibia. I'm just now going to give a chance to each one of the panelists here to give us briefly a run-through of what they've experienced in their countries to roll out SMART nationally. Could we start with Cambodia?
Okay, thank you. I'm from Cambodia. For the smart adoption, before we select or we decide to choose SMART for the implementation for the law enforcement in fishery administration, we have learning from the many NGOs such as WCS, FFI, and CI to the learning about how to use smart implementation to protect and conservation area and also the law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to add, so I would like to add to Petra. So firstly, fishery administration is thinks about how can they manage or monitor the fishery resource. So in Cambodia, there are 2 types of fishery management. So one is the marine fishery management, and one is the inland fishery management. And first things, at the inland fishery management, they would like to know where's the most illegal fishing gear and where is the most illegal fishing that they operate in, we call Tonle Sap, Great Lakes, and also along the Mekong River. And in the marine, they would like to know where's the most of the vessel, illegal vessel that they fishing, operate the fishing in the sea, on the sea. That is why the fishery administrations, they try to find the other partner or stakeholder who experience with SMART, and then we meet together and try to understand what is the benefit and what is the strength of SMART. So on that time, they call the NGO like Petra just mentioned, Conservation International, Fauna and Flora, who experience in WCS. So fishery administration, they select because WCS has more experience about that. It doesn't mean that FFI and CIs are not that, but we mostly cover most of the type of the protected area and conservation area. So that's why we work with fishery administration and support the fishery administration on the provide capacity building to the, we call the core team of fishery administration at headquarters and fishery cantonment for each province, and also some of the inspectorate across the country. So now in Cambodia, fishery administrations, they have been implemented SMART for 3 years, but it seems that we've tried it still has a problem related to the data management, but we try our best to support related to data collection and try to simplify the way of collecting the information or the data at the field. Thank you.
Okay. Can I?
Yeah, sure, Nora.
For Mongolian experience, we just started from 2014, and we just started from the beginning of the smart software tool in version 3, and also we are using the paper-based form and using the GPS. And after that, we just transfer to the translating all the Mongolian languages into our smart software tool, and now easy to understand all the components for the rangers. And after that, we just moved to the smart mobile application 2020. And after that, 2022, we just moved to the smart connect server. And now now we have a smart connect server at the ministry level. And now all the protected areas connected to that ministry level and the national wide. So this is a short experience for the Mongolia.
Thank you. Lina, do you want to add anything?
Yes, well, for Colombia, basically, national natural parks started using SMART since 2014 with only 3 protected areas, and currently we have 59 protected areas using a SMART Patrol plugin. Since 2021, they adopted a SMART survey for all the monitoring of conservation targets according to the monitoring programs of each protected area. So currently we have in survey 40 protected areas using survey with 24 layers that are in the geodatabase, institutional geodatabase with all the monitoring information. So we have water quality, species, target species, restoration process, and so on. And basically all information is in one place and is used for all the decision making. During 2024, the idea is to continue using survey for all the protected areas, but also update SMART because we have still a previous version. And also we want to start using Connect in all protected areas. So far we only have 3 protected areas because of internet connection, but also because of the server that they are using. But the idea is this year to have all the 59 protected areas in Connect as well.
Yeah, Levani, the Georgian perspective?
Yeah, as for our Georgian perspective, the story started back in 2016. So just with an idea, just sharing, just getting to know about the smart, what it is, how it works, and so on and so forth. And so we kind of at that time we shared example or experience from Cambodia, visiting one of the national park and see how it works. It was time when still paper and pen were used for smart. Then in 2018 we piloted smart in 2 national parks in Georgia. And 2022 just expanded, and now it covers like 12 national parks across the country. It's with the great support of Agency of Protected Areas. The SMART was institutionalized, and it's like already kind of official tool which should be implemented on the PAs. And yeah, we just started using Georgian. We translated Georgian. We have already Georgian version of Smart Mobile. So, and from last year, 2023, we moved to Smart Connect. So mainly Smart is used for patrolling and law enforcement in Georgia. But of course, we are thinking of further using the benefits of this.
Jean-Paul, do you want to tell us on your experience in Bhutan?
In Bhutan context, the Department of Forest and Park Services is responsible for law enforcement and conservation. So Department of Forest and Park Services is the one implementing the SMART in Bhutan. Bhutan has started implementing SMART since 2013, and it is introduced to Bhutan through WWF Bhutan, and using Mr. Rohit Singh, who is here. And ever since the start of SMART training in Bhutan since 2013, we right away started working on the data model, which is very important component of SMART. And after developing the data model, and we piloted SMART in Royal Manas National Park, actually in one of the protected areas in Bhutan. And in 2015, we had a protected area conference in Bhutan, and through that conference, the Director Department of Forest and Park Services has announced or approved to use SMART in national scale in Bhutan. And then we formed a core team to work on data model. So since we don't have to do much on the software part, because we have the SMART partnership who is doing on that, and we only had to develop data model which is suitable in Bhutanese context, and that is how we scale up the SMART at the national level in Bhutan.
Thank you so much, Jean-Paul. Maybe my first question will be for you. How did you convince senior officials to use this tool, to use the SMART application nationally in all your protected areas?
Since it is endorsed throughout the nation, so we have formed a core team, and we have actually drafted the national implementation protocol. That protocol explains roles and responsibility of each people at the different hierarchy. So they have got different roles and responsibility. So example, at the front level, we have the team leader who is collecting, at rangers, who is collecting the SMART data. And then through the team leader, it comes to the park manager level, who is at the level of chief forestry officer. So the team leader submits the data and SMART data to the chief forestry officer. Then chief forestry officer does the data analysis. We have the SMART focal at his level, chief's level. Then he submits the copy of SMART raw data to the department, to the director. And at the director level, they do cross-conservation area analysis, and then comes back the report of SMART. The cross-conservation area analysis the report from the director to the chief level. And along with that cross-conservation area report, we get patrol plan as well through the finding of from that report. And then through the chief, then we do the planning. And at the chief level, we have, again, SMART focal at patrol sector level. And then we pull in group of people who is responsible, who has the responsibility there. And then we do the patrol planning together, and then we complete the cycle. And at the same time, it goes to the national level, how it works.
So it's really key to have to follow the whole process of adaptive management, from collection of the information, scrutinizing it on park level, sending it further, generating reports, interrogating the reports, and then giving feedback and adapt the patrolling strategies. Nara, I have a question for you. You said initially, and for a long time actually, you've been using the paper-based, GPS and paper-based, but just using Smart Desktop to enter the data. How convincing was it to get the Smart Partnership to actually translate the software into your native language, and how easy was it to convince field rangers to actually move from the paper-based system to using the Smart Mobile app?
For Mongolian side, it's very difficult to use in the English version, especially in the rangers. In Mongolian situation, the rangers are like, and the herders, it's the nomadic peoples, and they don't have sometimes even in schools, or even they don't understand what they are saying, like in English versions. So that's why we convince them to like translate into all the English version to the Mongolian, and then if it's all the observations and the files and menus are in Mongolian, they can easily use it in the field side. So for the translating process is a long process for the working with the Smart Worker Partnership, but actually it's spent almost 5 to 8 months during the translation, all the plugins and the menus. And after that, it's easy to convince them using the Smart Mobile application instead of the paper-based work, because to understanding of the concept of using the Smart Mobile is so easy. So like introducing them, if you are clicking one button, everything is in there, and you can choose only one thing, and then click on the send button, it's automatically go to the administrator button, and show them and practice them, and they feel really good, and they understand how it's important to in technology-based solutions, and other than related with the paper-based. So it's paper-based to shift into mobile application is so easy, I think, in Mongolian situation, to just try to explain why it's so simple. It's also saving the time and saving a lot of labor works or manual things. So I think it's easy for Mongolian side.
Yeah. Well, in my experience, it has been that with training, constant training and retraining, this really helps the scale up of it and the uptake of the system for rangers, like I said in the little video as well. With newer versions of the mobile app, you've got icons as well, so illiterate rangers can use it, and they don't need to see the end product until the report is generated. So actually having it on the app easily for them to record information correctly, that's really useful. Maybe on the Cambodian side, Ling and Paitre, are there any policies or frameworks that you've employed in Cambodia that really helps or helped with the scaling of SMART?
Actually, related to the policy, as I just mentioned at the moment, they would like to know where's the threat and where's the illegal fishing. I just mentioned only with the fishery administration, and they would like to know, the management, they would like to know more. They would like to know where are the most illegal activity happenings in that. So the purpose that they're using that, they just focus on two things. So one, they would like to use all of those data that collected from the field patrol fishery administration, and to know where are of those activity happening, and the second one using that to support the management decision. Oh, sorry, I add one more thing. They want to like to how can I say, is to improve the species, some of fishery resource in both marine and inland fishery management. So that is the three things in the current, I cannot say the policy, but in the current strategy of the fishery administration. Yeah. Petra can add more.
That's all. Yeah. Lavani, would you want to add on any policies or guidelines that you have in Georgia specifically for the use of SMART?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, so we have developed protocols for each role in the SMART, for starting from high-level management, ending up with the ranger. And what I mentioned, so the Agency of Protected Areas, who is just managing all the protected areas in the country, is very supportive in this part. And they just, as I said, since 2023, it's already institutionalized, and there are like official decree by the head of the administration, which just kind of obliges the PA managers to follow the SMART and use it as a tool, so which really helps the scaling up on national level. One thing I want to add is that, so what approach we use, it's not only scaling up at national level, but of course improving the results where we are. And so the approach we use, like we organize workshops, inviting all the PAs at one place, focusing on reporting, analyzing, and developing or updating the database. And this approach really helped, I mean, till the 2023 whole year. And at the end of the year, we already had like champions, SMART champions, and from my organization, which I represent, Caucasus Nature Fund, we kind of motivate rangers and kind of name the kind of SMART champions, and they were awarded at the end of the year. And this really motivates the process and supports the scale up also at national level. Thank you.
Yeah, Nara?
Yeah, I want to add something for this question, because it's a very important question if you are starting to installation of the national level or scale up. So for Mongolian situation, the first thing is we have to build a working group which are using SMART software tool, which is for example, in Mongolia, WWF, ZTSL, and our WCS, and all our international NGO are using the SMART software tool. So, so we are creating the building SMART working group under the ministry level. And after that, all these working group members to working adaptation actions. And the second thing is we are working on the standard guideline. Is it approved by ministry level, which is all the Mongolian protected areas are using one standard data model configuration. So it's easy to report and querying and analyzing. So we are working on this only one standard data model configuration, and after that approved by ministry level. And the third thing is a long-term situation is based on the performance evaluation. So all the protected areas are get the performance evaluation by the year, end of the year. So it must be requires evaluation of based on the SMART results. So it's gonna be like long-term process, and it's gonna be continuously long-term. So these three things is starting point if you are scale up, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Just a follow-up question for you, Nara. So if a new site in Mongolia wants to start up, probably not a national park, then it would be the guiding document that tells them that they have to use the national data model that's already developed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So that everything can link up for further queries.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Jean-Pierre, did you want to add something on that?
Just to add on the policy that leads Bhutan to scale up the SMART to national level. So in the constitution of Bhutan, we are mandated to maintain 60% of Bhutan's area under the forest cover for every time to come. So this constitution really mandates that our environment should be, our area should be under the forest cover for 60%, but as of now we have 69.72 something percentage, and SMART is one of the tools that really helps to fulfill the constitution of Bhutan. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
I want to add one more point. I would like to add one more point for the current meeting from the national government. They just have a meeting about a national government plan, 10-year government plan. So from 2025 to 2035. One point in that strategy, they also mentioned about smart and digital and contact, conservation technology to support the environmental. So they also state in that strategic plan, 10-year strategic plan for the national as well. Thank you.
Wow. Good. Lina, do you have anything to add on the Colombian
Yeah,
side?
I think it's pretty much similar.
Yeah.
We have the protocols, and but I think there is no let's say a must in the institution, more than it's been proved that it's very useful for the indicators that they have at the system level. So if they have, for instance, the percentage of area covered, of threatened area covered by patrols, or by visibility, what they call. And that's very important for them because they need to calculate first the threat area, which is all information comes from SMART. And they have a format that is the 038 format where the data model was built up, and they use all this information to calculate this indicator, and it's all for decision making and also for any legal process that they need to show any evidence. They have all information there, so they can do any surveillance actions. So that's very important. And also the reporting template is also something that is already institutional thing. Actually, the rangers in their contracts, they need to do the reporting template in SMART, which is very helpful because they need to run the report, analyze the report, and so on. And this report is more for the protected area, not for the system level, but for the protected area. And for instance, there they have information about the number of patrols per person, per sector, and so they can take decisions of how is the planning compared to what they are reporting, and having all these indicators in the system as well. And the geodatabase, they have an institutional geodatabase that goes all the information from SMART and from survey and patrols, but also other information from other tools that they use, and everything is set there, and it has to be there, so it's also like a real protocol to have everything set in one place, and the geodatabase for them is very important for analyzing all the information and having everything there.
No, thank you. I do think it's really important to have these guiding documents to allow us to work within a framework for the collection of data, to clearly identify roles and responsibilities, but then also to show how the data has to flow. And I really like the Mongolian perspective of having one national data model so that information can flow easier for better management decisions. So there are 24 national smart adoptions in the world. But surely this wasn't just done overnight, and it didn't just take one agency to get there. I would like to ask all of you to please give your perspective on the collaborations and the partnerships that you had to build over the years to get to where you are currently. How did you navigate all the complexities, the challenges that you may have had with dealing with communities, dealing with NGOs, dealing with government, to actually have SMART as the national adopted monitoring system in your individual countries?
Okay, so I think it's similar to one of the questions before, that we were saying that to adopt the tool, we need to have, for sure, convince the directors and the technical team, and be sure that to demonstrate that the tool is very useful, right? That's the first thing. And then in Colombia, WCS has helped the national parks, but for us it's been like just like it's a great sport, but it's also like we leave them to have an autonomy on, you know, on the use of the tool. And we've trained people, like we call the SMART champions, in the institution, so that they can really appropriate the tool, because otherwise if we are all the time, you know, there, that might be not for sure like they adopted the tool. So the idea is to have this support, and it's important to have partners in the governments and help. But also, I think the key thing in Colombia is that inside the institution we have very, very good people that is already working very well with the tool, and all these workshops have helped them to you know, spread all this knowledge all around the 59 protected areas. So we have 3 different levels: the national level, the regional level, and the protected area. So, and it's a huge system, many people, and I think one of the most challenging things is that we are changing people each year, which is, yeah, we lose people that is already trained in SMART, but still we keep people trained, and that's what worked for us as a partner in WCS. Without, you know, the people inside the institution, we've not able to do it. It's not possible, because we need these champion SMARTs within the institution, yeah.
For Mongolian situation, more similar like Lina, but adding something is, when you are scale up in the national level, the most important thing is the server. The Smart Connect server is the iCloud-based server. It's on the cloud, not in physically in our national level. So that's why the ministry level or the communication ministries are trying to do like build this physical server in the country. So this is one challenging thing at the national scale up. So, but now the Connect server is easily to shift to physical server. So this is not problem for us at all. But this is the first step of the challenging. And the second thing is one advantage for us, Mongolia, is a smart working group is built. So in a smart working group is in the WWF ZSL, as I mentioned before, is that the good thing is already smart partnerships NGOs are in Mongolia is operated. So that's why we are like good cooperative with supporting to ministry level and other NGOs, and so this is a big advantage for us. Yeah, that's it.
Levani?
Yeah, as I said, so we kind of, it's a kind of partnership between Caucasus Nature Fund, who supports the protected areas not only in Georgia and the Caucasus region, but in our case in Georgia, and it's a state supporter in protecting and nature conservation and supporting protected areas. And it was Caucasus Nature Fund who initiated the idea of SMART. And just by piloting it in 2 PAs in the country and seeing the first results, the agency of protected areas were kind of convinced to expand the SMART usage in 12 PAs already. We are not so lucky. We don't have SMART partnership in the country. But what we do is that, CNF supports this process, supported initially, it still supports and will support the process either financially or technically, and we have collaboration with RTO Conservation, which provide some kind of technical support in this process if there are some things that we can't handle with. So we have like experts in the organization supporting us online, and even we just deliver trainings for 26 smart officers. What is good that the Agency of Protected Areas established the position of smart coordinator at the central level, which was also trained, and these rangers, like up to 500 rangers were trained. But the smart officers I mentioned in each protected area, now they are kind of trained as a TOT, and they are the ones who continue supporting rangers at the field level and updating their skills and supporting them in the process.
So actually, smart data plays as a role between community and rangers, and also with the conservationists and the NGOs. So in context to the community, so we get information on the presence of wildlife, so which is directly or indirectly linked with the human-wildlife conflict. So we get data on where the wildlife is, and then we get to instantly inform the community about the presence of animal there, and they know that the animal is there and they refrain. And so that is how it mitigates the human-wildlife conflict as well. And also through the use of smart, we get to help the people, help the community who is really in need of it. So example, if a person from a locality is being apprehended for poaching, so we get to identify that person, and then we get to study the background of that person. And after knowing the livelihood of that person, then we are able to introduce that person to NGO and to help him with his livelihood and all. So this is how smart help the partnership between the different things.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the experience in Cambodia in implementing smart, there are several problems and challenges in implementing this tool, but I group into 3 levels. One is the site-based. The second one is the database management, and the third one is the national management. So I mentioned about from the down to the top. So at the site-based level, there are 2 challenging as well. So one is the capacity of the implementer of the patrol data collector. So because there are limit, so mostly, especially the community, they still have the limited of the language reading. Even in Khmer language, some people they could not read and write, so that's why we try to simplify the text and try to use the icons that they can understand out of those. And another one related to the knowledge regarding to the environment or the context of their conservation or protected area. So that is why we try to provide more training and coaching and follow-up, not only training, but coaching and follow-up every month, or more than, sometimes more than twice a month or something. For the database management level, so there are many challenges related to focal points that we try to find the appropriate person who has a commitment to manage the database. So that is a problem as well. But in fishery administration Cambodia, there are 25 province and cantonment, but for all of those cantonment also limited of the staff. So one staff do many things. So that is why it's really difficult for us to choose the focal point. But we try our best to choose the focal point. And some of the training that we provide in the database management level, sometimes they send different people to attend. So that is why we are very difficult. But the new strategy for us, we try to provide coaching to each cantonment by going to each cantonment and coach the database management. That is the thing. And the third one related to the national level. So as you know, there are 2 agencies, 2 ministries that plan. One, Ministry of Agriculture and Fishery, they already use it. But Ministry of Environment, we are in the process to scale up SMART to the national level. So even I mentioned only fishery administration. So there are two type of management, like I just mentioned, inland and marine. So there are different sources as well that we need to combine all of those in one single national data model. So we try to compile all of the information, and we are the focal person who responsible for coordinate the data model, also meet with each of the department. So how can we integrate all of those in one? So this is also a really challenge for us as well. But for fishery administration, we are okay. And for Ministry of Environment, now we are in the process similar to what Nara just done as well. We have the working group, national working group, and all of the group joined by the NGO, conservation NGO, also some of the institutions who work in the conservation, and also the department that related to the conservation. So that in the process, maybe this year or next year will be, Ministry of Environment will be implementing SMART as the national system. Yeah.
Well, I hope you succeed in that, to have it not only for fisheries but also for the environment. Throughout all the talks, I could relate to many of the challenges. Training of staff or staff turnover, it's one of the big ones. But you have to keep enduring, keep training, keep putting in the effort. And really, it's critical to have these smart champions in the regions. And I like the idea of actually having an annual award session for champions, and maybe even using the meta-assessments, SMART in the meta-assessments, to see which protected areas are the best managed. But yeah, we've almost come to the end of the session. I would like to open it up for 1 or 2 questions from the audience, if there's any. Who was first? Director. There's a microphone somewhere.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Mine is not really a question. It's really just to express my sincere thanks to the colleagues who have shared their experience on the SMART journey. It's incredible to listen to you all, where you come from, and basically what's been the journey thus far. I think from our side, just to recognize that we do really see that it's worthwhile undertaking this journey. To some of us and my colleagues, as senior managers, there's always a fear about new technology, new things, and to adapt to new tools. But I think it's just a message to myself and to my colleagues that we should not fear. I think it's a journey, it's worthwhile taking, and over time, I think we will get there. So thank you very much to listening to you and your experiences. So it's really encouraging to listen from you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director.
Mine is a question to any of the panelists. I know you generate smart reports and all that from this tool. I just want to really understand what are some of the data analysis challenges you are experiencing in the implementation of SMART, but also how are you really using the reports which you are generating as a decision supporting system in terms of your patrol planning, especially for law enforcement? Thank you.
That's a very good question. Who wants to attempt to answer? Lina?
Yeah. We have the same situation that we have one data model for the patrol plugin for the whole system. And the discussion was forever to get one because of the different interests and needs of each protected area. At the end, we got to one model, but over time, we changed the data model, and that created conflict when we do multi-temporal analysis. But we are at this point, we are with this data model that is all completely with all the metrics for each thread and everything. And we are going to stay, I think, for a long time with that data model. So that's the first thing. Try not to change the information that you are collecting over time too much, because then if you want to do this multi-temporal analysis, it's going to create a conflict. Also, with survey is the same thing. You need to previously think about the monitoring system, the monitoring design you want, the variables you want, and then set everything in smart, not before, because again, you're going to have conflict if you keep changing all these monitoring systems. So it's very important that. Also, we play with the data model and the queries all the time to see how the query goes up, so that we get the Excel straight away, so that we can do the analysis more easily. Because sometimes we create the data model and then the query is very disorganized, or it doesn't have the whole thing that we need. So we play all the time back, we go to the query and then to the data model, and we adjust and we test everything in the field. And also for the analysis, we see that it's actually responding to our indicators that we need. And for the patrol template here in Colombia, it was something that was discussed in the team, and at the end we have a template that is now it's formal for the institution. Everyone has to use the patrol template. As I was saying before, the rangers have in their contracts to run the patrol template, so they have to share all the information each quarter during the year, so that they report all the information about the patrols. So that's how it works, and it's already set up in the institution.
Okay, I'm gonna add one thing for that, especially in data model, data analyst managers challenging. This is every country has challenges, I think. For Mongolia, it's most important thing is data analyst managers knowledge. So most important thing is, what are you looking for all the flow data? So this is the main questions. So this is understanding how could be using the smart. So this means we have to like weekly meeting, monthly meeting with the administrative teams or whole rangers teams or protected areas like meeting. So meeting is most important thing, what we are looking for, what we are achieving. Yeah? And after that, data managers are really capable to create a report, queries, based on these questions. So this question is like mainly changing monthly, yearly, or it doesn't matter, yeah? So this is one thing for our challenge. So meeting is the best way to solve this problem, yeah.
I think we can take one last question.
Yes.
Okay, you'll be the very, very last.
I don't think so. Can you hear? Okay. Yeah, I have one question. I work in very remote areas in the Arctic where we cannot actually visit a lot of the sites, and a lot of the people that are implementing have tiny problems, with the device, for example, not working, and then they just get really frustrated and they don't use it. So how, maybe some examples how you've overcome that, or do you have those situations? What is an effective training then in that regard where you cannot have a point of contact, actually visit with the sites?
Okay, for Mongolia example, we also have a far away, we have a huge landscape in Mongolia. So there is limited access of the internet and 3G or 4G, even in the cellular. So we also recommended for using the ruggedness phones for the rangers. It's easy to communicate and easy to work with the very harsh weathers or snowy. In Mongolia, it's very snowy and sometimes very hot. It's very randomly weather situation happened. So we just recommended for the using the rugged phones for the rangers. And then we just recommended for using, after all the observation is done, then rangers should be exported to the data manager after the finishing all the patrol lanes. This is a safe way to saving all the data fully to the transferring to the data administrative centers. If you are using the real-time data, that could be not good work for our landscapes type, even in your like a similar situation for this landscape. Yeah.
Thank you, Nara. We'll have our last question for the session.
Okay, thank you, every panelist. Really, it's impressive, and it changed my mind with regard to smart. As it's known nowadays, many tools are every day created, developed. And we are in a dilemma to use which. What is your future perspective with regard to smart? This is for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
So what is the question? A future perspective. That's a good point. Okay, I'm gonna start. For Mongolian situation, we just, I already mentioned before, we just moved to the Smart Connect server from the 2022. And now the big step is like we just integrated with another software, for example, Earth Ranger. So we are just testing Earth Ranger with integrating with the smart software tools. Now it's starting, so this is our next step. And also we just focusing on the more plugins, for example, Survey and the Smart Profile. This is gonna be like our next future expectations in Mongolia.
Ling, you want to quickly add?
Just want to add to Nara, the themes to Nara. We will integrate it to, we plan to create the Earth Ranger and also some of the technology like Global Forest Watch and related to some of the software that can support us to identify where is the deforestation. But for forest fishery administration, we plan to integrate it with the Skyline. So that's the kind of the tool that supports the to identify maybe the washall in the marine area or something. Yeah.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of this session. Please find any one of us during the breaks or at lunch if you want to have more discussions on national adoption of SMART. Thank you so much for your attention.